Greetings and peace. I hope you and yours are doing well today, wherever you might be watching this from. Now, the title of today's video is Are you ready to give up drugs, alcohol, and sex to achieve God realization in Satan's realm? We grow up in a society where we're taught that sleeping with whoever you want, doing whatever you want, and getting away with whatever you want is the norm and is encouraged. But there's a law to everything. There's a natural law that has been set up to the way the system is, and no one gets away with anything. There's always a consequence, there's always a price to pay for each action. We grow up in a society where a woman who might have father issues might grow up traumatized, and to numb that pain, she'll jump from one man to another. And she's damaging herself longer in the process because each man she's being with, the etherical cord of that man is attached to her. And whatever man is next on her list will most likely gain that damage too that she had inherited. You have men who don't have mothers, don't have fathers. They grow up abusing men, abusing women in their own right, growing up. And on top of that, you throw in the addition of alcohol, which is Al Ghul the demon, which are these different entities that control your thoughts and judgments. And then most of these people who are under these influences, they often end up with regret because they know they were not in control of their body, mind, thoughts, and action. It was those entities that were feeding off of you. Same thing with the drugs. You open your vessel up to these different energies and entities that are around you to take you over. So now I say that who here in the Western world, let's say in the USA for example, where I'm at, is ready to commit to one man if you're a woman, or one woman if you're a man, for the rest of your life. Just commit to one person for the rest of your life. No alcohol, no drugs, no promiscuity, being a person of virtue. Who is ready to do that? Because you're taught the values of corporatism. Corporatism have replaced human values, and then that's where the errors have come through. Where if you don't get what you need from one person, then you jump to the next person, then the next person, then the next person. You're not taught to be satisfied with your own self. And ultimately, you end up creating damage, multiple mothers or multiple fathers, and that ultimately you just end up damaging yourself. Where men are suffering, they're not finding good wives. Women are suffering, they're not finding good husbands. Because it's all about individualism. Let me get what I want from this person, and after that, it's game over. So if he or she does not give up sex to you, then that person has no value. You move on to the next person, then the next person, then the next person. So you have this concept of, because this realm is Satan's realm, and the reason why we have to achieve enlightenment and get back up there with the graces of the Most High is being true to our virtue. Be true to your virtue and know that what is out there that is not helping me in any way. And let's say how many people or how many women would have been alive today if the access of alcohol was not involved. I've been reading stories for the last few years every other day where a death of a young college girl or a young beautiful woman, no matter where in the States, and there was always the elements of alcohol, drugs, and sex involved. Where I believe one time it was in Philadelphia, there was a college girl and she had walked off with somebody in the bar in hopes of getting sex, and alcohol was involved, and he ended up choking her to death. And now you had a family mourning. They had lost their young daughter over something that could have been easily preventable if you would have had a society of principles that tell you to stick and dedicate your life to one man only, or to a man to tell him to dedicate your life to one woman only, the woman that you love. As we're taught in Islam that heaven lies at the feet of your mother. So why degrade your mother? Whether it's your mother, sister, any woman in society. You have a society that gives women freedom. Well, what about their pay, paid leave, maternity, positions of power? Do they have freedom for that, or do they have just the freedom to drink alcohol and have sex with whoever they want? So think about that, including these different industries that demoralize men and women. So think about these things and know that if you are really on the spiritual path, how many claim to be, or how many people claim to follow God and be godly people, but how many of them are cheating on their spouses, on their husbands, on their wives, while their wives are waiting home for them? They're out there getting drinks and cheating on them and breaking their vows. Are you truly a man or woman of principle if you do that? And know that it all comes back to you. And also know that for the women who have father issues, who are jumping from one man to another, you have to break that cycle. Don't learn how to forgive yourself, and don't punish yourself for something that you could have you could avoid. If your father was not there for you, make sure you are there for your kids, and choose a man who will be there for your kids. Same thing, with a man. Choose a woman that will be there for your kids, and you will be there for your kids. Like one of my friends used to tell me that every day he used to wait at the window, wait for his dad to come home, and his dad never showed up. Same thing with a woman. Her father did not make good choices in the youth, and that ends up traumatizing the woman. And then she ends up trying to numb that pain, jumping from one relation to another, having kids with one man from another. That's a broken society. Because I see this society with my eyes, and I know these people are hurting. Their smiles and everyone's good and happy and all that. They're drinking and jumping around, whatever that they're doing, but deep down, these people are hurt. And I go around and I see all this trash all over the place. People are cutting each other off, throwing each under the bus, quoting religious scriptures but acting like hypocrites. All these situations out here, people pretending to be spiritual, religious, godly, but deep down inside they're degenerates that have not confronted their own shadows and their own self. And you will not become a whole being until you give those things up. And in a lot of these Eastern movements, the purpose of sex is only to create life, create another life. And besides that, you're supposed to, the relation you have with you and your wife is like a brother and sister type relationship, which is supposed to be a very spiritual type of relationship. And you're there to uplift each other, to become one with God, and to procreate. That's the only reason that you have sex for. Why eliminate alcohol? Because those are entities you are putting in your body that will end up harming you and overtaking you. How many people would be alive today if alcohol was not here? Think about it. Same thing with the drugs. So in order to be on that path of God realization, or many of you that are claiming to be on the path of spirituality and God realization, ask yourself this: am I ready to give up alcohol, sex, and drugs? Or focus on these addictions, or if you're addicted to these things, or if you have a trauma like father issues or mother issues that are forcing you to numb yourself to deal with these things. When you're able to answer that, that's when you're able to achieve the immortality of the soul and God realization. Control your lower nature. That's where everything is. If the foundation of your temple, if I go to any building and the legs of the building are wobbly because all they're doing is depleting themselves through the sex, through the life force release, and through the drugs, how long do you think the top of the foundation will be held up for? Not much longer. So this society is falling apart no matter how many technologies or ways of advancement that they have, because they have strayed away from the true human nature, which is love, unity, virtue, loyalty, a man being loyal to one woman for the rest of his life, a woman being loyal to one man for the rest of her life. Those virtues are needed in order to ensure your survival. Otherwise, 85% will perish, and the 15% of a pure heart, mind, body, and soul are going to recreate this world. So it's your choice. From the events that are taking place in this country from now till 2028, it's up to you. It's your free will decision. Me, as your well-wisher, I can only advise you. Think about all these things that I'm telling you, and I wish you the best for you and yours. Thank you.